The Legend of Zelda is one of the most iconic video game franchises of all time, being a critical and commercial success since the very first adventure back in 1986. Yet all the way through time and space, here we are today. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is here, and like all of you watching this, yeah, I'm playing the game right now as well. Let's face it, any other video that I output right now during Tears of the Kingdom time, chances are folks aren't going to tune in. I know a lot of you folks right now are playing Tears of the Kingdom, and when this video is long and old, yeah, people will still be playing Tears of the Kingdom. So I thought right now is the perfect time to look back on these games and choose my favorites. These are my top 10 Zelda games of all time. Also, this gives me some time to start completing Tears of the Kingdom, so yeah, it's gonna be a big one. As always, remember that this is my opinion. Any of these games could be someone else's number one, and I'd love to hear all about it in the comments down below. And if you've never played a Zelda game before, it can be dangerous to go alone, so take these suggestions as a place to start. Today's sponsor is our longtime partner, Helix Sleep, with their Memorial Day sale. Starting May 15th, you can save 25% off your next purchase. Helix Sleep provides premium sleep products that are customized to your unique sleep needs. Use their Helix Sleep quiz today to best assess and offer you optimal sleeping solutions. It doesn't matter if you're someone who shares a mattress, sleeps on their back and likes their mattress springy as heck, or a solo stomach sleeper who needs a firm mattress. Helix Sleep is looking to find you the perfect mattress. And not only will Helix Sleep ship for free anywhere in the US, they offer a 10-year warranty. They also offer flexible payment plans and financing options, as well as a 100-night sleep trial. So you can get more than 3 months with the product to make sure that you absolutely love it. The mattress will come rolled up and is remarkably easy to set up, even by yourself. Now, me personally, I've had my sleep mattresses for about, I want to say 2 or 3 years now, and I still love mine. Our general manager, Fraser, also has his Helix Sleep mattress for just under a year, and we were traveling to GDC and PAX East together. We both said we could not wait to go back home to our beds because hotel mattresses did not offer the rest that we are used to. I love my Helix Sleep mattress, and I think you will love yours too. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix today. Their Memorial Day sale starts May 15th, and it's the perfect time to upgrade your sleep. Though you can always click the link below or go to helixsleep.com/thecompletionist to get your 20% off your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows today. You can get 25% off if you wait for the Memorial Day sale. Once again, if you're looking to get some great sleep on a great mattress, go to helixsleep.com/thecompletionist today. Now, back to the show.
Number 10.
Nowadays, it's easy to forget how much of a game changer the original Legend of Zelda was. It was revolutionary for the time, offering an open world that felt like you could go wherever and do whatever you wanted. It was one of the first games that really made you feel like you were exploring. That's probably why I got lost all the damn time. But that's kind of the point. In the book Game Over by David Sheff, Miyamoto said, "When I was a child, I went hiking and I found a lake. It was quite a surprise to me to stumble upon it. When I traveled around the country without a map, trying to find my way, stumbling on amazing things as I went, I realized how it felt to go on an adventure like this. With that simple idea and plenty of dungeons and gadgets and a whole host of monsters to slay, the original Legend of Zelda didn't just set the tone for the series, but for decades of video games down the line. For an NES game, this thing is so flippin' good. Massive maps, intricate dungeons. A lot of it doesn't even tell you how to do or what to do. This game was so complicated back in the day that Nintendo gave you essentially a map just to keep up with this entire sprawling world. But at the very end of the day, this game is still fun to play even today. So there's no way I could not put it on this list.
Number 9.
The legend that took to the skies and made Link fly around on a colorful Loftwing. Skyward Sword is one of those games that everyone online just doesn't like, but in the end, I ended up really loving it. Link has to also travel to the surface world to save Zelda and engage in combat. Now, the control scheme at the time was very divisive, requiring the use of the Wii Motion Plus and Nunchuck controller. But the HD re-release on Switch most recently gave players the option to use Joy-Con motion controls or turn them off entirely. I'd recommend the latter. Skyward Sword's characters are part of its magic. Link and Zelda's relationship is closer than ever, and there are plenty of delightful secondary NPCs, like the item check lady, Impa, and of course, Groose, the most underrated character in all of Zelda. Now, the music in Skyward Sword is some of the series' best, especially the soaring Ballad of the Goddess. I think the dungeon design is also really solid, even if it seems like there are fewer overall areas than in previous games. Now, I will admit, at first, I was one of those people that was dissatisfied with Skyward Sword the first time I played it. The motion controls were distracting and imprecise, and I thought they took away from the overall experience. But a lot of time has passed since I've played Skyward Sword, and more recently I experienced the HD remaster and I absolutely loved it. It made me really appreciate all of the wonderful ideas that the game had to offer. Skyward Sword is a great Zelda game and it is definitely worth your time.
Number 8.
What may be one of the most controversial Zelda games of all time, Wind Waker is definitely one of the best. The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is a prime example of a great game with great execution that just didn't have that much traction in the beginning. Early footage of the game sparked controversy among longtime fans, many of whom were hoping for something that looked a bit darker and more serious for Link's first GameCube adventure. Time and Toon Link prevailed, and Wind Waker has held up amazingly well. This semi-non-linear oceanic adventure features some of Zelda's most enduring aesthetics. The visual representation of Wind Waker is so much more stylized than most of any of the other Zelda games out there. Since everything is cel-shaded and more cartoony, they definitely have a distinct appearance. The details from this direction are immaculate. Look at the smoke left over from the bombs, or the way the water moves as you sail through it. Beyond that, you have all of the makings of a classic 3D Zelda game. Utilizing items, solving puzzles, exploring dungeons, engaging in combat, it's a tried and true formula. This is also the first Zelda game to feature parrying, so suck on that, Dark Souls. But the major difference between this game and other Zeldas is that you spend most of your time in a boat, the King of Red Lions, sailing from island to island. Nintendo deserves praise for pushing the series' art design in a whole new direction. The result is an extremely good Zelda game that some found polarizing. And to be frank, I was one of those people in the very beginning. But nowadays, I can confidently say Wind Waker is beloved for many reasons.
Number 7.
Nintendo proved they could develop a Zelda game with a cel-shaded art style, but the next game in the series leaned into that darker tone with slick, moody visuals and epically terrifying bosses. Nintendo decided to placate their fan base even more by giving them a chance to play as a dog. Twilight Princess essentially pulls from the greatest hits of Ocarina of Time and expands on those ideas. The music is grander, the graphics are better, the combat feels more intuitive, as long as you aren't using the motion controls for the Wii U version. That's right, folks, this is one of those games that has 3 separate versions. The original launch versions on Wii, the GameCube, which was actually the final first-party game for the GameCube system, and the Nintendo Wii U HD version. Personally speaking, I think the Wii U HD version is the definitive way to experience Twilight Princess. But no matter what console you play on, Link is fun to control both as a person in the light world and as a wolf in the Twilight world. Twilight Princess has some of my favorite gadgets of all time, including the double hook shot, the spinner, and the good old ball and chain. I always love when a gadget doubles as a weapon, and the ball and chain is the best when it comes to smashing stuff. Add on some great characters like Midna and the most sinister tone in a Zelda game next to Majora's Mask, and you have what was for a long time my 3rd favorite Zelda game. But things can change over time, and surprisingly, titles have worked their way higher on my list, including
Number 6.
Zelda games have traditionally always become a top seller. In the case of the Nintendo Switch, Breath of the Wild was a system seller, looking at 15 million units so far. However, Zelda has never been just limited to home consoles. There are portable versions as well, and my personal favorite is Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening was one of the first games to prove that you could have an epic experience on the go. It takes the foundation established by the original Legend of Zelda and its eventual sequel, A Link to the Past, and translates it well, even if it is simplified and fairly linear. Link's Awakening also wasn't afraid to get a little weird with a giant whale called the Windfish. There's multiple fourth wall breaking moments, and even enemies from Super Mario Brothers, not to mention the dreamlike aesthetic that is prevalent throughout the entire game. And once more, we have multiple different versions of Link's Awakening. The original, the Game Boy Color DX version, which features an optional dungeon built around colors, and the Nintendo Switch remake with a brand new art style and the ability to make your own dungeons. While the latter is obviously easier to find, you really can't go wrong with any of them. This game is celebrating its 30th anniversary today in 2023, and there's never been a better time to play it.
Number 5.
Okay. I know a lot of you are seeing this right now and you're getting really mad, and calm down. It's just an opinion. Calm down. If you were to sit down a bunch of millennials, a nightmarish prospect, but bear with me, and ask them what the best game on the Nintendo 64, you might hear someone say Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie or GoldenEye. But odds are that those voices would be drowned out by the cacophony of people who would scream all at once, Ocarina of Time. And you know what? I get it. The transition from 2D to 3D was strenuous to a lot of franchises, like Bubsy. The development team behind Ocarina of Time, which included Shigeru Miyamoto, but also rising superstars Yoshiaka Koizumi and Eiji Aonuma, were able to take the main tenets of the previous Zelda games and expand upon them, making 90s kids feel like they were going on an epic adventure through time and space. Now, I'm probably controversial for saying this, but I've always viewed Ocarina of Time as a 3D translation of A Link to the Past. But the battles became more precise with the groundbreaking invention of Z-targeting, the different settings eventually felt more grand, and the dungeons were just as fun to solve. And yes, there was the infamous water temple, and everyone hates it. It's still not great, but I love it. Ocarina of Time didn't just define what every 3D Zelda game would be like for decades, but it helped create the 3D action adventure genre as we know it today. Now, it may not be my favorite 3D Zelda game. I do have nothing but respect for it.
Number 4.
I think everyone's had their own issues with Breath of the Wild, and I've certainly had my own, mainly due to those damn Korok seeds, and I know that Tears of the Kingdom there's going to be a lot more, but Breath of the Wild is an undeniable juggernaut. In fact, I think this is the direction that Zelda games have been heading towards for a long while. Breath of the Wild takes the concept from the original Legend of Zelda and transports it into a modern landscape with a completely open, systems-driven world to explore. So much so, you can head down and battle the final boss right from the get-go if you'd like. Or if you're a regular person, you can explore all of Hyrule as the most mobile version of Link in the entire series. Our boy's not stuck to the ground any longer. He can run, jump, climb, glide with the best of them. He even gets a bike with the DLC stuff. Then there's the Sheikah Slate, which grants players the remarkable ability to create bombs, ice blocks, move metal objects with magnetism, and take selfies. It's one of the most useful tools in the entire series, especially when you are trying to solve one of the 120 shrines. Breath of the Wild rewards players who learn how its systems interact with each other, lighting a forest on fire to get an updraft you can glide on, or using shields to surf the sands. Now that does feel a little bit like it's cheating, but these are features built into the game if you know how to exploit them. Breath of the Wild didn't just feel like an update to the Legend of Zelda formula, but for all open world games in general. It's one of those rare games where you can just pick it up, wander around for a little bit, and enjoy yourself. And even though the game also released on the Wii U, playing it on the Nintendo Switch made it feel like we were in a new era of gaming.
Number 3.
Generally speaking, I love when a Zelda game takes weird risks. This results in some of the most memorable story and gameplay moments in the series. And in my opinion, it doesn't get riskier than The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Serving as a type of sequel or side story to Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask uses the same gameplay and engine, but instead of just making a bigger and more epic story, Majora's Mask adds a completely new mechanic, a time loop. The world is about to end in 3 days after the Skull Kid summons the moon to crash into the planet. However, you are able to send yourself back to the first day by playing your ocarina. This becomes necessary as it gives you time to solve side quests and gather gadgets in order to save Termina. Not only does this separate Majora's Mask from other Zelda games structurally, but it also adds a much more melancholy tone to the experience. All of these people that you see living their lives the exact same way every day, they live with the dread of an apocalyptic event quite literally hanging over their heads. Part of the joy of this game is learning how every side character reacts to the looming threat of ultimate doom. To say that Majora's Mask was ahead of its time is an understatement, especially when it seems like there's an oversaturation of time loop mechanics in recent games. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is a wonderful and emotional experience that is mind-blowing to look back and think upon.
Number 2.
Like I said at the beginning of this video, this was a tough list to make because of how much I love all these games. And choosing between number 1 and 2 was the most difficult of all because I had to decide for me personally, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. I think they were close enough that they are the exact same game with obvious varying degrees of changes with story and plot and mechanics and so on and so forth. But I was told I had to separate them, and that makes sense. A Link to the Past is often considered one of the greatest games, not just on the Super Nintendo, but of all time, and there's good reason for that. Like other Zelda games, it takes everything that was established in the original and pushes it 3 steps further with simple but effective gameplay and timeless art design. There's a reason I still play different versions of A Link to the Past on my Twitch channel to this day. It's practically peerless. But you know what? A Link Between Worlds completely lives up to that legacy as well. It takes the world and gameplay from the original and flips it on its head by introducing low rule, a rental system for items, and the upgrade system from the adorable Maya Mayas. Yes, I didn't enjoy the 15-minute long Cuckoo game, but luckily for me, I never have to do it ever again. I can just enjoy the rest of the game for what it is. One of the most perfect Legend of Zelda experiences that can be played anytime, anywhere. Both of these games are near and dear to my heart and share a lot of the same qualities that make them some of my favorite games of all time. I just don't know which one I'm going to choose for number 1.
So don't.
What?
Just put them both as number 1.
Number 1.
That's right, it's a tie. For the first time in Completionist Top 10 history, number 1 is going to be shared by 2 games. For me, these 2 games go hand in hand. I just can't separate them. Both A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds capture everything that I love about a Zelda game. Sense of exploration, lots of fun items, and the feeling that I'm constantly improving. Now, if you disagree with anything on this list at all, don't worry, I have made a video for every single one of these games. And there's a playlist down below for you to watch. To me, both of these games are through and through Zelda, and that's why A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds are some of my favorite Zelda games of all time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about my top list in the comments down below. You all probably knew this was coming, so it's not that big of a surprise, but hey, let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Have a great weekend, enjoy Tears of the Kingdom, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.